Greetings. Happy Saturn Day. I am here at the marketplace, which is where I am on Saturdays from 11 to 6 p.m. We are open from 11 to 6 p.m. for you to come and shop for your wellness goodies. Sage, gemstones, natural toothpaste, natural soaps, natural oils, herbs, all type of good stuff. So, anywho, we're here till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. I was just looking at some things that I did a few years back, and I was like, I used to go live on Saturdays, just in the marketplace, talking about the different things, offering some educational insights about things. So I was like, hey, why not? Let me start to get back to that. So, that was my intention this morning when I came on. So I thought about what should I kind of come and talk about, and everybody's talking about Mother's Day. So I was like, let me just come and share my story with about my mama, the relationship with my mama, and talk about what helped me to heal the relationship with my mother and I, and also to appreciate her and her role in my life. So a part of the story, because it's a kind of a long story, so I want to kind of keep it short. A part of the story is I began to learn about, Alafia says, I began to learn about chakras probably like, I don't know, my son was 10, so 8 years ago, I began to learn about chakras. And I think what led me to the chakras is I was working with gemstones, and every time I would go to study a gemstone, it would reference a chakra that it was helpful for. And it would talk about what it would do for the chakra and all of those different things, but I didn't know much about chakras. I saw that it had some level of impact, but after a while, I got really interested into it. And so I went on this 30-day self-guided journey of opening the chakras. So my idea was, for each chakra, I'm going to learn about the chakra, and while I'm learning about it, I'm going to do the things that I have researched that I can do to help to open those chakras. And so I used this document called Journaling Through the Chakras. It was a really good document. I've shared it with many people. If you're interested in the document, you can DM me your email address and I'll send it to you. But I started to go through this chakra journey. Journaling, meditating, eating for the chakra, and just reflecting on the different areas of the chakras. So what I found was that each one of the chakras had an impact on areas of your life, or had influences, or was associated with various areas of your life that you deal with. For instance, root chakra is linked to survival, is linked to how you think about survival. Are you one who is stuck in survival mode? Are you one who is nervous about life? You feel like, you never really feel comfortable. You never really feel like you have enough. You deal with lackful mentality a lot. Then your root chakra may be blocked. You are also one, it may not just be survival as far as material go. You may also feel very insecure. You may feel like, I'm not secure in my relationships. It's like you don't have any grounding. The name of the chakra is root. So you don't feel rooted. You don't feel rooted. And so each one of the chakras speaks to various areas of your life. So I went through all of them, and one of the ones that was very blessed, give thanks, sis, greetings. One of those chakras that really stopped me in my tracks was the heart chakra, right? For a while, I had questions about this notion of love. Like, I never really knew if we really understood it, and I never could get with the whole idea of how we were talking about love, because in my experience, when I've seen people love, it didn't look like something that was attractive. So it's like, I don't know about this thing called love. As a matter of fact, this thing called love is so polar. Like, it has this polar, as its polar vibrations to it, where it could be super toxic or it could be amazing. And a reality of mine is I experienced a lot of the toxicity of it, just observing it or just experiencing it, whether it's the way I was thinking about it, the way I was receiving it, the way I was seeing it, whatever. All I know is I didn't have the greatest relationship with this concept of love. And once I got to the heart chakra, that's what it was talking about a lot, this idea of love. And so I had to address it. I said, okay, let me see if I can get with the program on what do they mean by love. Maybe what I'm reading, all these different things I'm reading about this heart chakra, maybe they don't mean the same type of love that I have seen or I have thought about, which, to be transparent, was more of like the romantic love or the possessive love. So I went to, at that time, I had been introduced to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. So I went to see what's the metaphysical meaning of heart, right? And of love. Let me start with love, because then it went to heart because it's heart chakra. So I did look up heart, and it's like the center of your consciousness. That's the metaphysical description in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. Is the heart is the center of your consciousness. It's basically where the foundation of how you think. That's the center of your consciousness, the heart. So you say, you know where a man's heart is by how he thinks and what he likes and what he believes in. And so that is the center of your consciousness. But this thing of love, when I looked it up metaphysically, was considered to be divine love. And divine love, as I interpreted it, is the acceptance and allowance of things to be as they are, and not needing to control it, manipulate it, possess it, change it, none of that. You just accepting it is what it is, knowing that, trusting in this notion of divinity, trusting in this notion of all is divine, right? Everything is meant to be as it is, nothing is by chance, like really understanding the laws, the universal laws. And that's what love is. And I could line up with that. I was like, okay, so really love is definitely different than how I was thinking about it. You know, I saw love as this thing that people said when they're they're willing to give themselves to be possessed, and they want to possess in return. And so I can show my love to you by my willingness to give of myself to you fully. I'll change for you, I'll compromise for you, I'll do this for you, I'll try to make you happy, I'll do all these different type of things, and then vice versa. But in this idea of love, this is without possession. This is saying, look, I care for you because I understand that you are a divine being just like I am. You are who you are. You have your uniqueness about you. You have your path. You have your journey. You have the lessons and blessings you are supposed to be experiencing in this world. So I respect that. And when we are a vibrational match, we can maybe be friends, we can maybe be close, we can maybe really vibe with each other. And I pray that maybe we can have that vibrational match for a long, long time. But if we don't have that vibrational match, I'm not mad at you. I'm not taking it personally. This is the idea of love. So I began to think about how I show up in love in my life. And where did I see any kind of blockages or troublesome love. And one of them was with my mother. So I started looking at relationships, and one of them was with my mother, and I said, wow. And so I just began to reflect upon our relationship and began to apply this new idea of what love is. And it made me say, man, to accept and allow her to be as she is to not take anything that I don't feel that I like about her or what she do or whatever, not take it personally and just allow it to be what it is. You know, because one of the parts of our relationship that was very strained is I just didn't agree with a lot of her views. I didn't like the way she was thinking about me, and she projected what her thoughts were about what my views are, and all these different, the head-butting type of things that mothers and daughters go through, which mine may sound, light to many with some of the things that they go through with their mother. And I speak peace and blessing upon all mother-daughter and mother-son relationships. But for me, it was serious for me because, of course, who I want my mother to love me. I want my mother to be proud of me. I want, I had all of that. But because of my lifestyle and what I was choosing to do with my life, and you know how parents are, if they feel like, sometimes if parents feel like you're not doing what is right, or you're not doing what is going to bring you success, or whatever it may be, they'll project their things, on you, their views on you. And so we really struggle with that. We really struggle with that. I found her to be very judgmental. I found her to be very closed-minded, and I wasn't in that space. I was really not judging anything. My mind was just wide open. I was trying to, understand life. But once I ran into this notion of divine love, it was like, how can I accept and allow her to be as she is? And it was questions that began to come up, like, why am I taking things personally? Why do these things bother me so much? What do I expect from my mother? Is possession a part of that? You know what I mean? Am I really respecting that she is a whole person, a whole universe in herself, with her past and her bloodline and her thoughts and her traumas and all these? Am I really respecting that in my yearning for whatever I'm yearning for from her? Because the way I was experiencing it, it was in a very selfish, one-sided way. It was me, wanting from her, but not necessarily realizing that she's giving the best that she got. She's giving the best that she got. And, and I started thinking about her life and what she's gone through her life and all these different type of things. And it just softened my heart so much. And I started, because I was learning about the chakras. I was learning that when you go through certain things, when you go through certain traumas, when you deal with certain things, and when your mind begins to go a certain way, you experience life in a certain kind of way. And so I began to think about her and her chakras, and are her chakras open? And, and has she ever done any work like this, any reflection like this, and how it must feel for her to walk this land, blocked up, and, it's so empathy came. And it's like all of the weight of the being mad with her and taking things personal just went away when I started to work on the heart chakra. Now, it wasn't overnight. While it was taking 2 or 3 weeks for each of the other chakras, this one I sat still on for a while. I really worked with the heart chakra for maybe a little over a month, right? Because it wasn't just a relationship with my mother. I started to reflect on relationship with my son, relationship with my son's father, relationship with friends, just relationships in general, my center of consciousness, where's my mindset, and that's driving the way I view my life and relationships and all these different types of things. So it was a lot of shedding. And what I really found was that many times the way we approach life is from a very me way. Me, for me, me. In a very possessive way, that we tend to be possessive. We tend to want to hold on to things so tight. We want to control things. We want to manipulate things. We want our way. And this is natural, that's cool, but if you haven't yet addressed the ego, then you wanting your way can cause problems. Because ego is never really aligned with what's eternal and what's ultimately renders peace and joy and happiness and abundance. Ego can render temporary all of those things, but ultimately it's not universal. It's not from the whole, so it's going to be a problem at some point. That's just how ego works. So nonetheless, back to my mama. So I started working on lightening the heart, releasing expectations, detaching from this idea of who mama's supposed to be to me and what I wish she would have been and could have been. I started releasing all of that. And I asked myself, what is the purpose of my relationship with my mother in the here and the now? Because what I realized was people come into our experience, including our parents, for a divine purpose. It's really just for a divine purpose, okay? We see them as our mama, so we say, oh, that's my mama, so she should do this. That's my baba, so he should do this. That's my husband, so he should do this, because of these titles that come with expectations. But removing those titles and those expectations, nothing's by chance. We have people in our lives for a reason. And so I reflected upon, like, well, what could my mother, exactly how she is and exactly how I am, what could be my reason to be in her life and her reason to be in my life? And one of the purposes that I perceive as for her being in my life as my mother is, one, to teach me empathy. Two, to show me how, show me certain things. I'll just put it like that. To show me certain things from her example of the way she lived her life and how her life unfolded. I learned a lot from that. Just from sobering up with my yearning, wanting mine, moving away from that, I was able to see a lot of things and learn from her experience a lot of things. I was able to see a lot of her in me, And my purpose for her life in that here and now was to show her love. It was for me to learn what love is and show her love. My mother dealt with heart disease, what they call heart disease, for a long time. And she had at least 4, I think maybe 5 heart attacks in her lifetime. So if you think about that, and you think about the deeper meaning behind dis-ease. It's a word I was looking for. It wasn't coming to my head quickly. That's the word I was looking for. The underlying cause of dis-ease. Dis-ease starts inside, and then it becomes a physical dis-ease. If you're dealing with heart disease for that long, and you're having all our heart attacks, what they call heart attacks or heart episodes now, that should tell you that someone is dealing with a blockage in the heart chakra. And the symptoms of a blockage in the heart chakra is needing to control everything. Pieces needed to control everything. Worry. People who worry a lot. People who are anxious a lot. People who judge quickly and harshly. These are people who may be dealing with a blocked heart chakra for reasons. There are reasons, there are legitimate reasons why they're experiencing that blockage. But ultimately what it causes is dis-ease. Dis-ease of the mind, of the heart, of the body. And so if it's never healed, then it's going to cause a demise. Not an ultimate demise, because one thing about it, our bodies, this life, this world is always moving towards the cycle of decay and restoration. That's what this life is all about. It grows, it transitions, it composts, it decays, it comes back to life. That's what it is. And so my mother, one of the reasons why she ended up transitioning is due to the heart disease. And so I started to think about that just prior to her transition, this is maybe like 5 years before she transitioned when this all happened. So I started to think about what showing her pure divine love could do for her. And I took on this as my whole purpose in being in her life. I was no longer her daughter. I was her daughter, but I was no longer thinking like I'm her daughter. I wasn't no longer looking for her for any expectations of anything as my mama. My whole purpose in my relationship with my mother was to show her divine love, this love that I was learning. And so I chose to make Fridays her day. Fridays, you know, Venus Day. I started to call it Love Day. Like even people in the ministry now, we call it Love Day. So Venus Day was her day. Love Day was her day. Every Friday, I told her, I said, look, we need to be going out. Da, 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 da. I said, I'm going to take you out. I didn't tell her I'm going to take you out every Friday. I just said, I'm going to come take you out. So it naturally became every Friday. So I would take her out to eat. I would take her around town. I would kiss her on her cheek. I would hug her neck. I would tell her she looked nice. I would do all these different type of things. And it was amazing to see all of the changes that happened in her life because of that. I was amazed. Amazed. She's never been a hugging type. You could ask my siblings. We would go to hug her and she'd be like, get off of me, get off of me. That was her thing. She wasn't like mad about it. She just was like, don't be doing all of that. That was her, right? Now when I come over, my nieces will come running to me to give a hug and she'll be like, I'm just waiting on you to come give me my hug. And I'm like, huh? I never forget she first said that. I was like, okay, I'm coming. Let me get a baby some of their hug. Okay, all right. And then she started to lean her little cheek up to get a kiss on the cheek. And I was just floored because this was not my mama. Like, huh? So then, you know, prior to this, I was working on some, what I consider at that time to be like ancestral healing with my mother's mother, because of how the traumatic way she transitioned. I started to work with that energy and just, you know, kind of like doing my own perceived ancestral healing. And so then, like, the grandma energy became a part of this whole rendezvous my mother and I was having with this divine love. And so one day I was on the way to pick her up on Venus Day, Love Day. And when I walked into the house, I had this notion, which we can say spirit led or the Most High told me, but I had this notion. I heard it clear in my mind. Call out her name like you're her mother. That's what it said. Call out your name like you're her mother. And so I immediately started to get emotional, but I took a deep breath and I said, Gloria. That was her name. Gloria. And I said it in this kind of like big mama voice. Gloria. How I imagine my grandma sound. Because I never met my grandmother. She was, she transitioned when my mother was young. When my mother was like 16. Gloria, you ain't ready yet? That's how I said it, right? And I said it loud. And then she started giggling loudly, almost like a cackle, like, like a little girl. I heard the voice of the little girl in my mother. I was like, so I had to stop in my track, take a deep breath, and give thanks for everything that was happening in this whole process, because I couldn't have planned it. This is not something I sat down. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. No. All I did was follow divine inspiration. One being to love on my mama, don't have no other purpose but to love on her. Two being take her out every Friday on Venus Day. Three being call on her name like you're her mama. When I finally got myself together and walked back to her room, she was sitting at her, what is the thing called that they sit at to do their makeup? My mama had this, I forget what it's called, but she had one of those in her room. She was sitting at her thing, brushing her hair and doing her makeup. And she turned around and looked at me with this huge childlike smile on her face. I'm almost ready, and she was getting all dressed up and pampered. I said, oh, you fancy, I'm underdressed, and I'm good. And I had never seen my mother smile this way. I just had never experienced this. It was deep. And so nonetheless, these Fridays, you know, they went on and she just loved them and she loved shopping. Her love language was definitely gifts and praise and all of this. So when we were out and about, you know, Atlanta is small, so sometimes people would see me and be like, you Queen Yenn, and you know, and so she would love that. And I'm her mama, she would step up and say, and they would love on her, and it was just a beautiful experience. And I shared this story. I came here to talk about some of the gemstones I used. That's what I came here to talk about, because I have gemstones in the shop, and I share, and I don't, you know, I sell anything that I sell in the shop is because I've had some level of experience with it in a healing way. And gemstones are definitely one of the main ones. And so I offer a whole variety of them. And in my hand, you saw just a few of the heart chakra stones that I have in stock. All of them I worked with at some point as I was working on my heart chakra. So I came to share that. You know, I was going to go through, but I just followed spirit. I was going to go through each one of these stones and tell you how powerful they are. I will tell you that my favorite heart chakra stones are the rose quartz, which a lot of people like, and the green aventurine, especially the green aventurine, because it's very good with breaking habits, breaking hardened mindsets. It's known as the money stone, so there's a stone of prosperity, but that makes sense because the only time your money gets sluggish is when your mind gets sluggish, and when your mind get all tight and boggled up, then your coins start to dwindle. And so I get it why that's called prosperity stone. But I shared this story to say, you know, we're in this physical experience to be a light. To be a light. We are light beings, you know. If we can get to a place where we can accept that my whole mission, my whole purpose is to let this little light of mine shine. If we do that, then we will shine. So we will feel healthy, vibrant, purposeful, at peace. Our heart will be light. So starting there, you know, we'll feel whole and well and wealthy and all those beautiful things if we focus on shining our light. So that means that's a few things. Treating your body well, learning about your body and learning how to keep it well, opening up the chakras, learning about what is this reality of God, what is this thing we call God or divinity or the universe or this higher being other than yourself. Really understanding that, really understanding what role you play in this whole universal grand picture of it all. What role do you play? How do you play that role in the best way? Like asking yourself those things. Not holding on to things that burden your heart or make your heart heavy. You know, being able to lighten your heart and release, surrender life, you know, and not allow life to just captivate you so much, you know, and being able to forgive yourself, forgive others. That means let go. Forgive, the etymology of forgive means to completely let it go, to return it back to its owner. You know what I mean? To let it go. These are the things that, you know, if we focus our attention on, our light will shine. And this is what I believe is seeking ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will come to you. Like if you seek the kingdom of God, then you become Adam and Eve in the garden. You know, you name it and that's it. That's just your whole job, is to name it, you know, in your life. As you walk in your life, as you dealing with the circumstances, situations, you start to realize that your whole job is to name it. That's it. You don't try to become the creator. You don't try to become this source of life. I know people say we create our own lives and all this type of things. Life is not begotten, nor does it beget. Okay? Life is life. Life is happening whether we know, we're intentional or not. Life is happening, you know. So we don't have to do so much that we think we have to do. It's more so about being the spiritual, divine, light being that you are. Focusing more on learning what that is and how to do that is is more sustainably fruitful than trying to do anything else, honestly. When you do that, and then now you come with these divine inspirations, visions, desires, all of these different type of things, they come easy to you. As a light, as a radiant being, you attract and you impress. You attract and you impress. You become this light bulb, this vortex, right? And so if you, once as you were working on that light shining and you get these visions and desires, you just focus on keeping that light shining, and you're going to get divine inspirations to follow. And as you follow them, you keep shining your light. You don't try to possess that vision. You don't try to force that vision. You don't try to control that vision. You just allow that vision to be, and then follow inspired actions. And then in the meantime, be grateful. As it is unfolding, be grateful. As you are walking your journey and you're coming into circumstances, situations, you are grateful. Because you have a level of peace and a knowing that this is all my journey. It's all meant. It's all purposeful. I'm going to just keep my heart light, stay vigilant. This is more about the being than doing. And so I wanted to share that, and my mother's, and the story, the story of my mother's and our journey when it comes to love, and how opening my heart, unblocking my heart chakra, helped me to help her to unblock hers. And how that's the purpose of life. And I wasn't doing it for her. I was doing it because I was divinely inspired to do it. And it wasn't just her. She was one of the main ones, but it was with my son. My relationship changed with my son. My relationship changed with my son's father. My relationship changed with my friends, with my my whole, I changed. So everything changed. The inner peace took over. And so as I'm at peace, because my heart chakra is unblocked, then now people can be just as they are, who they are, with me, and I stand in my light, and I'm either able to attract that which is me towards me to add to me, or I'm able to impress and add to the other person who I'm exchanging energy with. And I'm just grateful that I was able to have that level of exchange with my mother before her transition. I know it wasn't by chance that happened before she transitioned. I'm grateful that it happened before, because I learned so much and it was so fruitful. And I'm able to talk to people about their relationships with their mother, because a lot of people have strained relationships with their mother. But for me, it's better for us to understand the mother principle, the principle of the divine feminine, versus trying to or adopting some level of idea around who our physical mothers should be to us. Many of our physical mothers never understood the mother principle, never understood the principle of divine feminine, the divine feminine, which is dormant potentiality, which is the river of life. They never understood that, and so I feel that when it comes to Mother's Day, I would love to see us really honor and learn about the real mother principle, and make that day be in celebration of the mother, the divine mother, the mother principle, the divine feminine. Whether we look at Isis or Mary or whoever in representation, get to learn what it's even talking about in depth, because that is helping you to get to understand God, which essentially is getting you to understand yourself and life. And so if we celebrated that, then man, a lot of the strife that we are up against with our mamas will go away, will be healed. And our fathers, it would be healed. And this egotistical praise of our physical mothers, or this egotistical expectations of our physical mothers will be healed as well. It will be healed as well. Yes, someone just asked me, how is my relationship with the cosmic mother? Exactly. With the mother principle, like the divine feminine. That's a principle. That's a principle, And we don't understand it because we have been, especially in this society where it's a very egotistical, individualistic, capitalistic society, we are more so conditioned to look at ourselves from a personal standpoint and focus more on the physical world. We hardly know anything about the unseen. We hardly know anything about the metaphysical science of life, and that's life. That's mostly life. The only thing that you're seeing physical is a manifestation of the unseen. And so imagine we knew more about the unseen. I was just reading something today about dis-ease. It was a dis-ease. I was just studying the metaphysical because I have a client who's dealing with it. And the article was saying how doctors don't ask them. They said it was psycho something. But they were saying the root cause of it is how they're thinking, how they're perceiving things, how they're processing life. And it is true. That's underneath everything. And so not knowing about this divine feminine, we end up living a life of mediocre creation. We begin to, yes, that's the word, thank you. We begin to live a life of other people's dreams, other people's opinions, other people's views. We begin to live a life of trauma, what we see, trauma, sadness, despair, lack, dis-ease, worry, all of these different type of things, because we don't understand the divine feminine. We don't understand the mother-father principle. We don't understand those things. And I am not gonna spend a lot of time here on that, not hardly any time on that, because I came to just share my story and to say simply, to humbly offer a consideration. Instead of looking at mothers and fathers and whomever else as these roles in your life, or as these the physical person, as these pillars in your life, which ultimately they do have the impact of a pillar, because the mama, we know, is the first teacher. So you got your mama in you, and you got your father in you. So it is what it is. But I'm saying, if we lighten that up, I see you, sis. I got you. If we lighten that up a bit and start to see ourselves, our mothers, everybody as universal components of the whole. I say it like this. I've described it like this to some people. There's this grand heartbeat that's happening, and we're all a part of the pulse. And as you keep your light shining, your pulse is strong. But as you not taking care of yourself and not developing and not growing and not expanding your consciousness and all of that, your pulse becomes dimmer and dimmer. But we are all a part, whether that's your mama, your uncle, whoever. We're all a part of this grand pulse. So it doesn't make sense for you as a pulse to be looking for your mama to be your pulse. You respect the pulse of your mama, the pulse of your father, the pulse of whoever. You respect their pulse as what it is, and however, and everybody pulse pumps for how it does in their own unique way, depending upon you. But you respect that for that. And you, if anything, you try to assist that pulse, or if that post is causing you to, you try to figure out how to keep your post strong. But you honor the fact that that post is happening, whether you like it or not. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It's not personal. Everybody post is isolated of the whole, or isolation of the whole. And so that I pray that that's the okay enough analogy to say, like, relax. Like, you are a post. You focus on keeping your post pumping strong. Because if you get your post pumping strong, it could help out all the other posts. Okay? Because at the end of the day, if you're not, you're making it the grand, it's like, you gonna have to just fizzle on out. Because the way life works is you're gonna have to go ahead and transition, go back to pure positive energy so we can get that post back up. Okay? I give thanks. So consider, what is my role in my mama's life? What is my role in my mama's life? Not what do you expect? What is my role in my mama's life? You may not have a relationship with your mother. It may be strained. Maybe your role is to purely send light energy towards her. Purely. I used to project green light and wrap it around my mama and her heart. And I remember she was in she was in the hospital before she transitioned. Every evening, without stress, without worry, without sadness, I would project green light all around her. I would talk to her. I would say, Mama, relax, calm down, stop thinking so much. And I would use my telepathy. I would be activating, in my mind, I was using telepathy to talk to her. I was functioning as an unseen. I was using what I knew that we have as unseen beings, without this physical. Because oftentimes that's more powerful than any words, any gift, anything that you can use. Use your prayers, your affirmations, send positive light. Drop the expectations, detach. And I guarantee you your relationship will be more fruitful, even if y'all not even physically, if y'all don't have a physical relationship. It'll be way more fruitful for you. You can be an impact to her. And then it can dead some of that energy that's being held, that's being perpetuated because of ego on both ends, the mama and the daughter or the son. So I give thanks. We have relationships in our lives and they all play a role, and I think if we can always try to bring it back to ourselves and bring it back to the source, we can really realize the purpose of a lot of things. Relationships, circumstances, situation. If you bring it back to yourself, like, I wonder why this is showing up into my experience. What can I learn from this? What do I see in this? And then always bring it back to the source of gratitude. Like, nothing is by chance, all is well, everything is meant to be. I baptized this situation, I baptized this relationship, I baptized this whatever in love and abundance and light and whatever, and you release it. Release it. Release that attachment to mama. I say, let us begin to, just as we honor and have spent so much money over the years and have spent so much time and things, somewhat worshiping and idolizing and appreciating the physical mama, I would say, it's time for us to really understand the principle, the mother principle, the divine feminine. That ain't got nothing to do with the physical at all. We talking about a principle, an essence, a reality of life. The divine feminine shows up and the divine masculine shows up in life. And if we understand those two, we can begin to truly understand life and release some of these false notions we have about life that's keeping us bound in sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, worry, and all of that. And we can really begin to understand what it means to be a divine being. When we know that the divine masculine and feminine are always at play and what that means. You feel me? All right. Well, anywho, somebody's asking me to repeat the heart chakra stones. The ones that my favorite are the green aventurine, okay? and the rose quartz. Rose quartz is known as the mother stone. It's definitely one that you may want to work with if you're working with the divine feminine energy or getting to understand it. It's the frequency of the heart chakra. So that's what it means by it saying it's a heart chakra stone. It means that the frequency of the heart at its neutral state, which is balance, is the same frequency. You know, it connects with the frequency of a rose quartz and of a green aventurine and of a green opal, green calcite. You know, green is the color of the gemstones for the heart chakra, and pink and peach, those kind of colors are great for the heart chakra. And it's not a mystical thing, right? It's not magic how gemstones work. If I could just put it in short, these are little ball, I call these our equalizers. You know, on the board when you're a DJ or whatever, you have an equalizer that it tones energy, it tunes energy. These are our little tune-ups. These are little balls of energy. You can keep them charged by putting them under the moon, under the sun, in the natural waters. You can put essential oils on them that charge them to keep the energy vibrant. And then you hold them near to your body so they can connect with the energy in your body. So you are sum total of all the gemstones that are available. And so these come as assistants. They can come and assist you. So you put them on the heart, you put them on the sacral chakra, you line them up. That's what I do when I do the full chakra energy clearings. I line up the gemstones on your body. I use sound, the breath, aromatherapy. I'm gonna use it all. Whatever spiritually, I might start singing in that mug. I might pray. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do, whatever I'm guided to do during your session to get those chakras open, right? But gemstones is a very helpful tool for me because I'm working with energy, you know. And so green aventurine I like as well because this is one that's known to be one that help to break hardened mindsets, or what they call habits, hardened mindsets. It's great for discipline. It's also known as the money stone. It's known as the stone of prosperity. And I get it, right? You know, because to have open flow of currency, you must have an open mind. You know, that is your garden. Your mind and your heart are your garden. So to keep the weeds out, which are those hardened, you know, thoughts and hardened mindsets, you know, you can work with the green aventurine and a few other stones. It's helpful for that. But I also have in stock the peach aventurine, which is really beautiful for the heart. Shri agate, I like this one. It's nice. Has a very nice vibe. The agates or agates, they are really nice energies for the heart. This one is fire quartz. It kind of looked like a rose quartz, pink like a rose quartz, but it's not really pink. And then this is a sunstone, really nice for the heart chakra as well. Okay, all of those are in stock and more. You can shop in here. I'm open 11 to 6 p.m. on Saturdays, 12 to 4 on Sundays, except the last Sunday. I do a wellness class at my childhood church. But I'm open 11 to 6 on Saturdays and 12 to 4 on Sundays. And this weekend, all gemstones are 50% off in store. Okay, I don't have it for the online right now. But in store, if you come out in person, bring your mama. If you come out, you can shop gemstones for 50% off. If you're not in Atlanta, I do have them online as well. You can find that at the link in my bio here or in the caption if you're watching this via YouTube. I pray that the story has been inspirational. I send out a prayer right now for all beings to continue to expand their consciousness when it comes to the reality of divinity, the reality of God, and the reality of our divinity, so that we can begin to understand the unseen world. I give thanks for the divine feminine energy, the divine mother, and also the divine masculine energy, the divine father, and the role it plays in our lives. I pray that our consciousness will continue to expand around the understanding. We can gain understanding, knowledge, and wisdom when it comes to these things, pulling us out from this physical world, being so attached to this physical world, and helping us to remember and merge with the unseen so that we can experience this physical plane as divine beings, light at heart, attractive in nature, in a flow, the same flow that nature flows in, which is ease and peace and joy and abundance. I give thanks in advance for this being reality. Ashe. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. All right, y'all. Give thanks. I'm going back, just reading some comments. Thank you for this, much needed on healing mother wounds. Give thanks from a metaphysical standpoint. Infinite thanks, Queen. You're welcome. You're welcome. Give thanks. Give thanks for y'all listening in. Yes, honor and respect without expectations. Ashe. Queen, can you please repeat that? Okay, I did that. Any recommendations on books, on ancestral healings? I know you said you did things, proceed on what came to you in terms of that. No, you know, if you would have asked me maybe like 5 years ago, I might have ran down a few books. But because we're in a new age, we're in a new stage of existence. This is just my stance. I'm not putting down books. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in my experience, for my personal self and for people who I work with, the guidance is more internal. And oftentimes when you're reading books, it'll put somewhat of a limitation around what could really be divine for you, for what you're seeking. And so I oftentimes don't really recommend books because people are really offering their perception and their way of doing things, and it could come off as the way. And I'm very careful with that because although what they offer, like as I shared today, what I felt, that's what they felt, and that's where they were guided and inspired. So I say to you, one, see if you can sit with the notion of ancestral healing. Ask yourself, what does ancestor mean to you? What does that mean? What does healing mean to you? And how do you feel that spirit is leading you to be able to do that healing? For me, ancestral healing, ancestry is like a flow of energy. That's how I see it. It's a flow of energy. It's they are part of the pulse as they were here in the physical experience and as they transition. And so because of that, I'm thinking of, so if I think of my grandmother's joy or I think of her pain, I think of both as vibration. And so if I could add to my grandmother's joy, the vibration of joy, that stream of energy, the way I can increase that is to increase my energy because of my connection with my grandma. So for me to heal, if I have a notion that maybe my grandmother suffered a long time with something, then for me to do that quote unquote healing, that's for me to experience a level of understanding that maybe she didn't attain so that she can be able to not suffer from that. So if it's depression is in your family, it's not getting to understand depression like that in an intellectual standpoint. It's looking at it like, you know, what is this thing we call depression from an energetic standpoint? Understanding it, okay, how do we balance that out? How do we find my aunt in that space? From what our understanding of energy and our understanding of God and then you live that out. To me, that's beautiful ancestral healing. To me, that's my take on it. And so, like I said, if you got ancestors, you know it running your family, certain things running your family, then it's maybe a part of that is for you to really understand what is the energetic, you know, reason for that. And I like the way that said, breaking generational patterns. What is the reason for that? Say it's obesity, right? Maybe it's emotional eating running the family. If it's heart disease, maybe it's worry. Maybe we have worry wards. Okay, so to heal that is for you to understand what is the root cause of worry. Vibrationally, energetically, spiritually, metaphysically, emotionally, what is the root cause of worry? And remedy that within yourself. And you doing that and really shining that light on that, purifying that, and you just make that light bright in your life, you're doing ancestral healing. That is ancestral healing. So to me, I say that one of the easiest ways to do just a holistic, generalized ancestral healing is to lighten your heart and shine your light. Lighten your heart and shine your light. That is supreme, top tier ancestral healing. Period. And that's not something you can do intellectually. It's just not. You know, you can temporarily feel better, but I'm talking about a deep level of lightening of the heart, which is surrender, detach, let go, you know, accept the reality of God, accept your divinity, and walk in that. That right there, you're not only healing yourself, you're healing your bloodline. Ashe. I pray that was helpful. I can't think of any books off the top of my head though that only book that I have read that mentions ancestral healing, or maybe just ancestors in general, was Jambalaya by Yeye Tish. Yeye Louisa Tish. It was a book. Jambalaya is her book. Beautiful ear out of New Orleans, I believe. Give thanks. I'm glad that was helpful. A beautiful ear out of New Orleans. She has a book called Jambalaya, and she talks about, she has how to set up the altars. And so through her talking about it and me processing it with what I understand about energy and all of those things, I came up with what I just shared. Like, oh, okay, I see. I can understand why they would put that and why they would do this and what that has to do when it comes to energy. But ultimately, it's not a complex concept to me. That's just to me. It's not. It's once you really, it all boils down to, do you understand the reality of God, and do you understand your divinity and what all that means and how you live that out. And so that can help you from ancestral to you, to the heart, to dis-ease, to your wealth, your wellness, your relationships. That neutralizes and balances out everything. It's the ultimate seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be added to you. I hope this was fruitful for you. I plan on coming on Saturdays when I come in. Come out and see us. The garden is beautiful. It's a beautiful time to be out in the garden. You can bring a mat, a blanket, your lunch, and hang out. And again, this weekend and this weekend only, for the sake of what's deemed to be Mother's Day, I am doing 50% off of all gemstones. So maybe come out and get you a heart chakra stone to help for yourself. One for your mama, maybe. Even if your mother is not still in this physical experience, you know, I still have a rose quartz on my mama's altar, you know, and sometimes I work with that stone. I still honor their presence here. We give thanks for their presence here. So you're welcome. We'll be here until 6 p.m. today. All right, y'all. Peace and love. Peace.